beyond the tailgate. We had to set it on the tailgate, repack everything, stack it around it. Looked like the Beverly Hillbillies coming down the road. And when we stopped to spend the night, the guy that owned the motel, I said, I will pay you to let me park right in front, because there's no way of locking up my antiques that I bought. I said, I'll pay you to let me leave this truck parked right here where the office is. And he didn't charge me anything. We spent the night that night and brought it on into Hickory. And this is our gun shop.
Hi, my name is Rich DeSimone. I'm the resident gunsmith here at Hart Square. Myself and Bill Brooks, another gunsmith, would like to show you how guns are made during the mid-1800s. So come on into the shop. Okay, the heart of the muzzleloader is the barrel. The barrel is made from wrought iron, which is heated hot and is formed around a pre-hardened mandrel, probably imported from Europe. Once the barrel is formed by heating in the forge and formed around the mandrel, it is then brought to the boring machine where the interior is smoothed out. Now that the crude barrel is formed, the interior of the barrel has to be uniform so that it's smooth. So it's put in the boring machine, and the boring machine has a rod that has a reamer on it, and the barrel is fed into the reamer till it goes all the way through, and various size reamers are then used to uniform and get rid of any inclusions inside the barrel until we wind up with a perfectly smooth bore. Once the bore is smooth on the inside, we need to get the sides of the barrel to all be equal on all sides, okay? That's the reason why the barrels are flat or 8-sided. And what we do is usually we have an apprentice in the shop, and the apprentice will be turning a wheel like this. And another apprentice will be moving the barrel, which is set on centers, across the turning wheel as it's turning, and it'll cause it to become flat. Once one side is done, it will be turned and indexed until we eventually have 8 sides flat. Now all sides are equal in thickness in relation to the bore. The flat sides are then used in order to install our sights, so our front and rear sight are on the same level as the bores, which will hopefully make us hit the target. From this point, the barrel would then be moved to the rifling machine. Now that we've created the smooth bore in our barrel, we then put our flats on the outside to uniform the outside to the inside. Now we're going to take our smooth bore gun, which would be known as a musket if we left it smooth, and we're going to create a rifle out of it by putting grooves on a shape much similar to your typical barber pole. And the way we're going to do that is by use of a cutter on this rod being pulled through 8 cutting grooves following this particular pattern. So every time the cutter goes through, it rotates and makes a cut. Once we've made one cut, we can take this whole unit out and put it into the next notch and cut the corresponding groove to follow it until we have 8 of them. We'll then have our barrel completely rifled, which will allow us to take a elongated projectile, shoot it, and allow it to spin much like a football spins, which is going to create greater accuracy than if we left it as a smooth bore and fired a round ball, which just kind of went out just like you throw a softball. Once we've completed rifling our barrel, we have to make sure that we did a good job with it, and we don't want to build a complete rifle and have it blow up before we're ready to shoot it. So we take the barrel and we put in a breech plug to block up one end. The barrel is then taken and loaded with a very high charge of black powder, and a projectile is put in it, and from a distance it is fired. If the barrel doesn't blow up, then we're assured that we can now go ahead and make the rest of the gun to go around it. At that point, we will look to the wood shop to have our carpenter cut us out a stock. Depending on the size of our village, if we have a village carpenter, we'll then employ the carpenter to cut us out a piece of wood, which will be the basis for our gun stock. as you can see over here, there's various stages of completion until the completed rifle. Once we have our stock rough cut, now it'll be up to the gunsmith himself to inlet the stock, or more or less cut out the spaces for where the barrel and the lock and everything, and all of these various trim parts. When you look at a muzzle loader, you see brass pieces on the back end, which is the butt. You'll see places where they hold the patch box. These are various parts that make up the lock mechanism that fires it. We have trigger guards. We have pieces that hold our ramrod. So all of these parts are handmade either by the gunsmith or by a local foundry that might be on the premises. If they have a blacksmith, he would forge and melt all of these different parts. And this is what would make the rifle kind of look fancy and have all the different chrome and brass pieces on it.
Bob Hart bought this grinder, and the grinder is to make the powder, the gunpowder. And he gave the ingredients to me, and I have it written down, but it's mostly charcoal, saltpeter, and urea. And you grind it up in this thing, and then it's through.
I think you can see from what we have here that the gun shop at Hart Square is pretty well complete. This is pretty much an exact representation of what you would have found back in the mid 1800s. If you were to come to the festival in the fall, myself and Bill Brooks would be here, and we could go over a lot of other parts and machines that are here that we really don't have time to show at this point. So I hope we can see you in the fall.
Hello, my name is Fred Hawkins. I'm here at Hart Square. I run the Armory, which is right beside of the gun house. And we're just here to tell you a little bit about all these guns up and down the wall. And I just took down a North Carolina musket, probably from Fayetteville Armory. And we were fighting England at the time, and so we had to choose a gun in the 1770s. So we took the French gun, which had the barrel bands, and the English guns had the pins.